Everyone, thank you for being here. It was great to see some familiar faces the past several weeks at our congressional hearing and at NARUC, and I look forward to answering your questions today. Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you. Tom Tiernan with the Energy Daily. This is on the hydro matters, the exemption process and the NOPR. I know that FERC adopted the exemption from reclamation in the summer, and during your comments at the meeting, you said you're looking forward to more information on other exclusions. I was just looking for a little clarity on, so some exclusions are being adopted, but also a NOPR that is looking at the same process. I was just trying to figure out, and I've looked at the press release, I'm just trying to sort through the exemption process that is in place, that is being adopted, and then what the NOPR would do differently.
Sure. So staff can be available to walk through specific matters. They address different things. One is for relicensing and termination, more administrative items, and then separately we have the TVA categorical exclusions that they're applying. And this is, as we said, a broader effort to look across the government to our counterparts to see what other efficiencies we can glean from their experience and see how it could apply to our processes. Yes.
Hi, Carlos Anchondo with E&E News. My question's about the Constitution pipeline. Williams has filed a petition to have its certificate reissued, so I'd like to know if FERC is going to require a new application, or is the petition sufficient? And I ask because environmental groups say that the Second Circuit vacated FERC's orders and that a new application and new proceeding is required for a certificate to be issued. And then in the Feb 9 order for NESE, FERC said that, quote, nothing in Section 7 precludes us from issuing a certificate based on a record that previously supported an authorization that we have since vacated. So I'm trying to see, is that same logic going to be applied with Constitution, or is a new application going to be required? Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Your question is incredibly important, and it's become even more clear after Winter Storm Fern and the resource constraints that New England faced, and particularly how expensive power was for New England customers, that we need to help the area. That said, both proceedings are pending in front of the commission, and while I would love to answer your specific questions with my thoughts alone, I don't want to prejudge any matters, and I also, of course, have to get weigh-in from the 4 colleagues that I have in order to speak for the commission on those. So we look forward to acting on them as soon as we can. Yes, I'm just going down the line.
Hi, Callie Pattison with the Washington Examiner. My question's about a letter that was sent on Tuesday by 105 organizations, including the Industrial Energy Consumers of America, asking FERC to fully exercise its authority to increase competitive bidding for transmission projects. Wanted to see if you guys have received and looked at the letter, and was also wondering if you have any response to these organizations that really say competitive bidding is crucial to addressing affordability and growing electricity prices.
Thank you for the question. We, of course, are analyzing the letter, and every time we get any correspondence from industry that presents an opportunity to potentially lower rates for consumers and improve reliability, we take it very seriously. And this communication is no different. We are looking at it and analyzing it and seeing what we can do for our customers. Yes.
Since we're going down the line. Hi, Chair Sweat. I have a question on PJM, of course, and today was noted in the meeting all the actions that PJM is doing, and of course the initial briefs on terms of services that was submitted, I believe, this week. I'm wondering how much confidence does FERC have for PJM to meet all these different actions? How much confidence it has to meet this timeline, given all the actions it has to do this year, especially without a permanent CEO in place?
Yeah, there's no doubt PJM is in a very critical position in serving 67 million Americans, and with a very diverse stakeholder group that crosses more lines and more state boundaries than any other market in the country. That in itself makes anything that PJM does extremely difficult. And as you noted, they are looking for a CEO. So we stand ready at FERC to do whatever we can do to help PJM, whether it's through a board action or their stakeholder process, to meet the deadlines that they have committed to. Yes.
Thank you, Chair Sweat. AJ Camacho with E&E News. Last week, the Tennessee Valley Authority decided to continue operating some coal operations at Kingston and Cumberland plants, in addition to continuing the pursuit of the deployment of gas generating units there. Now, I understand that FERC had approved the Ridgeline and Cumberland pipelines to service the gas facilities there, but it also strikes me that the decision to continue coal operations could affect necessity determinations. So I'm curious if FERC is considering working on a supplemental environmental assessment or impact statement for those two pipelines, or if it's considering any other actions in terms of changing the previous order.
Thank you. Of course, I can't prejudge any possible filings that may come in associated with that, but in general, I can tell you that we have to entrust entities and regulated entities to make the best decisions that they can for their customers. And retirement of generation harms reliability. I've said that very publicly, and that's very clear after NERC's presentation today, that we have to get as much generation online and to maintain as much existing generation as we possibly can. But that said, we're ready to evaluate any potential filings that come in the door, and that's as far as I can go today. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Chair Sweat. Shayna Green from Bloomberg Law. Thank you so much for doing this today. I just wanted to ask about the recent repeal of the endangerment finding and how that would affect FERC's work. There have been several lawsuits already launched about the repeal of the endangerment finding. And so with pending litigation in mind, I'm wondering how a court order, which I'm sure will be far from now, but how a court order would also affect FERC's work when it comes to the endangerment finding. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. We are very aware of the announcement. FERC staff is working hard on reviewing what potential implications this may have on FERC processes, but like everyone else, we're awaiting the final action, and that includes any court action that may follow it. So in general, I applaud the EPA for taking a deregulatory action. As I've said, that's something that we're trying to do here, but we will wait to hear on what the final rulings are. Thank you.
We're going to go to a question online. Let's go to Maya Weber with S&P Global.
Hi. Thanks for doing this. I had a question about the winter storms. Your colleague, Judy Chang at NARUC, talked about possible need to do another look back, as FERC had done with some of the other winter storms, to look at the performance of the gas and electric systems. And I wondered if you had any view to share on that, if you also would like to see a look back of any sorts.
Thank you for the question. Winter Storm Fern was very unfortunate in that millions of Americans lost power, but in general, the grid performed exceedingly well. And I think that's in great part due to lessons learned and analyses conducted after prior severe weather events. And so that is very clearly a very valuable function that the Commission serves. And we, of course, are looking at how the grid stood up, various winterization measures that utilities took successfully, and how our reliability standards helped that or perhaps could be improved. And all of that is under analysis.
We have another question online. It's Keith Goldberg with Law 360.
Hi, Chairman. Thanks for doing this. On the sustainment of the final rule removing the restrictions on construction activities on pipeline projects during rehearing, how much did the 7-county decision sort of give the Commission the confidence to issue this rule? That court decision directed, said that courts should sort of defer more to agency environmental reviews. So does that did that kind of give the sort of the commission more confidence that their project reviews were more likely to be upheld by a court and potentially not vacated, putting sort of like the construction of projects in jeopardy?
Sure, that's a great question. As an initial matter, there's no doubt that Seven County was a huge win for improving permitting efficiency. However, that is separate and apart, in my opinion at least, of the unanimous order that my colleagues and I voted on today, repealing the hold on construction. And that repeal, in my mind, is just a vote of confidence in the incredible quality of the work that our Office of Energy Projects does at this commission. I am confident, after being at this commission for several months, that the analyses that they conduct, the engagement and the public outreach, and the technical, engineering, and legal things that they look at give me great confidence in orders when we issue them at FERC. Therefore, I think that the regulation that we appealed today was completely unnecessary, and that stands on its own, completely apart from Seven County.
Thank you. One final question from Zach Hale with S&P Global.
Hi, Chairman. Thanks for doing this. I was just wondering if you have any high-level thoughts to share on the package of NERC reliability standards approved today, and any thoughts on challenges or opportunities presented by the integration of inverter-based resources onto the bulk power system more broadly.
Thank you. The package approved today is part of our ongoing look at how we can improve reliability and give NERC the tools to ensure that our grid is reliable, give our operators the tools to ensure the same thing. And we're constantly looking for ways to improve our standards. That said, we are, of course, by statute, a resource neutral agency. We accept every electron onto the grid that we can in our jurisdiction. And the way that I view it, we're just meeting each type of technology as it comes. So the standards that were released today are specific to the challenges that inverter-based resources produce to integrating into the system, which every type of generation comes with a different engineering consideration. And we are meeting that where it arrives here, and we're just trying to make it more easy to integrate and more reliable.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chairman, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much, and Happy New Year.